Hey guys, let me know what you think by liking and commenting, and it really helps me and this channel out when you subscribe, so please click that button. Thanks a bunch. Hey everybody, if you've been watching this channel recently, you know I've gone through my fair share of problems. Now, I have absolutely no desire to turn this channel into anything but a happy, insouciant romp through fields of flowers and model trains and archery and other hobbies that I participate in. I really want you, my valued viewer, to enjoy watching my page and enjoy seeing my trains run or my archery or whatever it is that you come here for. But I do also realize that a lot of you are experiencing the same things I am, and particularly in this last year, it seems like model trains have become really problematic. It seems I'm not the only one experiencing just an abnormal glut of trains that are bad straight from the factory. Perhaps COVID figures into this some way. I know there were a lot of factories that were having to shut down, and maybe they're rushing now to get things out, but I don't know what it is. I'd love it if you share your experiences with me so I don't feel so alone in all this. I will introduce a new locomotive in my flotilla today, but I also want to introduce the Misery Index. And here's a brief rundown of everything that's causing me misery right now. Every single one of these was new from the factory. I actually had some used stuff that had some problems, but it's used, so I was okay with that. But everything you see here caused me problems, and it's a lot of items. Some of these I've been waiting on over a year. A lot of these are back now for repair. In fact, all of them except for one. Some of these haven't even gone back. This reading T1 just melted down and they haven't responded to my warranty request yet. This thing's still back for repairs. Brava hasn't contacted me about getting me new interiors for these, even though they about melted my basement down just like the reading did. This one actually was replaced, but there's a story behind this Roco Tortuga as well that I'm going to talk about here in another episode. All right, so what is the Misery Index right now? Well, on a scale of happy to bad, it's still a hobby and I'm still having fun, but let's call it right about here. Well, I've got another one for you. It doesn't push me into bad and it doesn't push me into angry, but it's another locomotive I had waited for a while, and it is this Rocco BLS AE 8/8 electric locomotive. It's a dual electric locomotive, and I've been waiting for it for a while, and one of the big reasons is I have a BLS consist with nothing to pull it. So when I saw that Roco was going to remake these, and I think it's a remake, the tooling looks kind of old. In fact, it still uses incandescent bulbs. So I'm fairly sure this has been done before, but when they said they were going to come back out with it, I was really happy because yay, I have a locomotive, I like the way it looks, and it can run my BLS consist that's just been sitting around because it was cheap. And I do that a lot. If I see a consist that's cheap and I like it, I buy the consist and then I buy something to run it later. Now I have a Swiss 8/14, which I really liked, and I like it. It's also a double just like this one. So I figured, yep, this is going to be great. I'll like running this one just as well. And since my 8/14 is AC and this one's DC, it's really easy to make sure that I can run them side by side, and I think they'll look great together. In fact, I really like the way this looks, and oddly, I actually have a lot of Swiss locomotives, which is interesting because I've never been to Switzerland, but they make a lot of different locomotives. They seem to like making their own, and they look just a little bit non-standard. I'm a little bit non-standard myself, so Swiss locomotives and me sort of have an affinity for each other, I think. And this locomotive looks better pulling this consist than I even thought it would. Wasn't quite sure how the brown and green would work together, but actually they look quite handsome rolling down the track. One more thing that leads me to believe that this is an older tooling is that it comes with an 8-pin socket. In fact, it comes in DC with an 8-pin socket or AC digital without sound. So I really think it's an older model, but it looks great. So I was happy to run it, and I had an extra lock sound decoder sitting around, so I threw that in there, programmed it with the sounds, and I discovered something kind of bad. And what I discovered that this thing runs pretty well forward. It's a little jerky, but it really doesn't like to run in reverse. Actually, it runs in reverse, but it doesn't like to start in reverse. It starts to move, but what you're seeing is it taking up the gear slack. I left the sound on so that you could hear the motor, well, at least the simulated motor, winding up. Again, it goes forward really without a problem, but once you put it into reverse, it just doesn't want to start up, just doesn't want to go. Now, at first, it wouldn't run in reverse without a load. I mean, just the locomotive itself, it just wouldn't move at all. I eventually ran it in for 4 hours trying to loosen it up. And it started to run just sometimes on its own, but with a consist it never would. The only way I could get it running was to actually physically push it while it was running in reverse, while it was spooled up, and it would finally start to roll. And again, what you're seeing when it starts to move backwards for a little bit is it's not running, it's just taking up the slack that's within the drive mechanism. And then once it sort of takes up all that slack, there's nowhere left for it to go. All right, everybody, here's what's happening. You can hear the front moving, the motor is spinning, but if you notice, the rear motor isn't spinning. And even if I spin it up a little bit more, the rear might start running, but the front will be running quite a bit faster. And what I've generally realized is that it is actually motor resistance. It's not a lubrication issue or anything like that. The rear motor actually resists more when it's going in this direction, and you have to pump quite a bit of energy into it in order to overcome that. If I add a little bit of power, the rear one will start to spin, but you'll see and you can already hear that the front motor is spinning quite a bit faster. So adding a lot more power doesn't really help either. And I took this video after yet another hour of break-in under load. So it's just not going to get any better, and that's where we're at. All right, well, I don't want to leave you completely with the belief that all I'm going to do is cover these broken locomotives. Here are 2 steam engines, and actually there's one more coming in that are all brand new that I'm going to try to cover pretty soon. Actually, the other one should be here by Wednesday, and I will immediately start to do a review on those, as these are all brand new products, 2 from Rocco and 1 from Marklin. Well, I think it'll be 3, assuming the Rocco steam engine that's coming in works anyway. I'll have a review covering these Rapido Comet commuter cars. I'll take a look at this Rocco Nightjet and its associated consist. I've really been waiting a long time to get this one running. And I'll take a look at the new Hornby W1 British Enterprise / Hush Hush. I think you'll really enjoy that. And I'll also post an update on these Amtrak chargers. I've done a little bit more work, and hopefully you'll like what I found there too. Hopefully that's enough to whet your appetite and encourages you to subscribe. Your subscriptions help me a lot. And as always, I look forward to hearing from you. Please leave some comments. I try to get back to you as soon as I can. It really helps me know what you're interested in, and it helps me plan for the future. So until next time, happy model railroading, and I hope your misery index stays low. Take care.